You hear me okay now, right? Yeah. All right. I know that last night a lot of you guys didn't get a chance to join us because of my mishap, as it were, but that trade that happened to set up as we were starting the session turned into a pretty amazing short in the ES, which we'll go over here in a moment. As that's opening. So this is the forum, and you get to it once you've logged into the portal. Let me just do that from scratch. It has a redirect in it, which a lot of people will disallow. And if you have that disallowed, then you'll have to allow it. You can just go to settings in Chrome and search for redirect. And then site settings. You can just add permissions for our site specifically. And that's really what I would do. I would just, it's about the easiest. It seems like it's difficult, but it's not too bad. So let's see. Forum, we want pop-ups and redirects enabled. See? It's blocked by default. So that's one of the main things that messes people up. We don't need ads. A lot of people will have JavaScript disabled just because of viruses and whatnot. But on our site, I mean, we're not trying to, install anything that's going to track you or whatever. We don't have anything like that, actually. It's quite impossible for us to do. But one thing that you do want to enable, let's see, it's going to be the videos, which is what? Okay, pop-ups, redirects. I guess it's Flash, but I think that's enabled by default anyhow. It's essentially built into it. Notifications you may want to enable if you have yours disabled. What else? Sounds. You don't need to automatically download, but I thought there was one specifically for video. It might be this MIDI devices. I think Cedric will know more about this, but anyhow, if something's not working for you, just reach out to support at tradetheplan.com and we'll sort it out. I know that not all of you guys will have access to this, but if you own the toolbar at all, then you should have access to the forum for now, at least for free. So if you're unable to get into the forum currently, then reach out to support at tradetheplan.com and Cedric will help you get in there and set up and get everything working right. This background sync might be what I'm thinking of here. Yeah. All right, that's for forum, but you also want it for portal. This one here. It's actually this one here. I don't know why this has a www. It's very odd. Flash is blocked on this one. Okay. I think that's what keeps the videos from playing, is if Flash is blocked. Images allow, pop-ups and redirects must be allowed, or else nothing will work right. It's not, there's nothing that really pops up other than that message to install, or possibly a message from Vimeo to view those videos. So it's not like there's going to be pop-up ads or, you know, anything stupid like that. We don't have any ads. What else? Sounds. I think that's it. Yep. Should be it. I'm gonna do this one too, just in case. Flash is blocked. Pop-ups and redirects are blocked by default, evidently. So seems like everyone will have to do this. Block to protect your privacy. Okay. Well. Notifications are blocked. It's this www one though. I don't know what that's all about. We don't have a www.portal.tradetheplan.com. Very odd. All right. That should do it. Continue running background apps when Google Chrome is closed. That's an iffy one. I don't like having that on at all. It just depends on if you have very many apps installed. I don't, because I'm not syncing this computer. I think that was half of my problems to begin with, the fact that I had too many extensions installed and it just wreaked havoc every time I synced up. So I'm going to leave that off and see what happens. So the way that this works now is you can install, let's see, I'll reload the page because I've changed the settings. Once I sign in, if you're signing in for the first time, it's going to take you to the help desk, which is sort of like Zendesk, which would take you here. And then you have to accept the permissions and whatnot. And then you can hit the back button, come back here. And then when you go to forum, you'll notice a tiny little plus right here. See it? Install TTP analysis forum. So if I click on that, this is the pop-up that you need to allow. Then I can install it as a Chrome app, which is pretty cool. And there it is. There's the Chrome app. Very, very interesting, huh? So what I wanted to see was this 6E. But I'm not seeing it. Yeah, here it is. This is the one I want to show right here. I really don't understand why this happens and when. I don't know if it shows through Zoom such that you guys can see it, but it shows like a chart coming out of its own border here. And I thought that was, like a DirectX issue or something that Ninja had already taken care of, but it's not looking that way. It's looking like there's still some sort of issue there. It's very odd. Maybe if I can identify the chart that's doing that. It's the euro, so it is this one that I want. Yep. Okay, I think that got it. Yeah, buddy. All right. Good, good. What a weird problem that is. Okay, so this is the actual euro, the Forex weekly chart. Now, that low was such a beautiful low. Man, it just took a very long time to get there. And I was of the opinion that this was a big wave one up, which I think is kind of obvious. And then this wave two down, well, it took over 2 years, didn't it, to put that low in. And now I'm thinking we're going up into a third wave, but you've got this major, massive trend line in the way. And if I use that one, look at that. It's actually just about to the tick. It's kind of incredible. So now I'm wondering, well, is it even possible for the dollar to go straight up? Just seems so unlikely, but we're not the only ones that have printed money, but we are the ones that have printed the most money, huh? Isn't that right? I'm still getting people saying that they're not hearing or seeing anything. Can somebody give me a yes, I can, or yes, I can hear and see the charts? Can you send it to all panelists and attendees? All okay? Yeah. Okay. Wonder why. It could be just your internet connection. Okay. If problem hearing, click lower left audio settings. That's right. Yeah. That too. Okay, good. So I was thinking either we're coming down in a fourth wave in the euro, and I was a little reluctant to post that chart actually, but it has turned down. Either it's going to be finding support at the bottom of that channel, which is essentially a target for a fourth wave, or this is in fact an expanded flat A, B, C. I just don't think that's nearly as likely. I think this scenario is probably much more likely. Probably. This scenario is more likely. But I must tell you the alternate, which is a bit strange. I'm not even going to put the alternate on here because I don't think it makes sense. So, yep. This is what I think is happening. Either way, we're likely to come down to 115. I'm just thinking here. Yeah. That is the lowest low. Which I'm pretty sure is wave 2 after that big push up. Yeah, this thing isn't handling as many open workspaces as I thought it would. I don't know. Zoom kind of throws a wrench into everything, though. Zoom takes up quite a bit of resources. It just makes everything kind of lag. One, two, three. Maybe that's a triangle 4. Maybe that's wave 4. Doesn't matter. And then 5 to complete 3. And then I think we've got what's going to end up being a perfect just A, B, C down. So we should be in wave 3 of C now. I want to say it's right here. Yeah. So I think we're headed down to about somewhere down in there. Somebody had asked a question about the forum a little while ago. If I didn't answer it, then please post it again and I'll try to address it. So that forum is where all of the screenshots of our analysis will reside. It gets copied to that, to a specific channel within that forum, or topic rather. And Bo's analysis has been being sent there for a couple of weeks now without mine, as I've been working on madness. Mostly computer problems. It's interesting, even though his is a 1920 by 1080p monitor, the images show up the same size. Mine's a 1440. So there is some kind of scaling going on there. It's just not the way that I want it. It doesn't auto resize. Okay, so yeah, he's showing you the target there, at least what the target was 7 hours ago. We'll have to check it out where it's at now. Pretty sure we broke through all of that. Yeah. Very aggressive long on the daily chart, really. And then here's Bo's kind of recap video from 2 hours ago. And now I'm going to start exporting. So currently we just have crude, 6E, and the ES. We should have one called other markets in here. MNQ. That's very bizarre. Something weird going on there, but to go backwards in the forum, you don't have a back button, right? Because it's a little web app, little Chrome app. So you need to right click and go back. You just right click anywhere in here. You can select back. We will open up other markets. This is all kind of looking like it's a little bit messed up at the moment, actually. So we're going to have one channel for other markets, which means that anything that I export, like let's say that I find a stock that I like or something, or there's something crazy going on in Apple or Tesla or whatever, and I want to export that such that you guys can get the screenshots instantly in the forum. And to get them instantly in the import manager, that's a little more work. So we're not quite ready to have kind of a bucket on the server that can handle and sort through and divide up all of the instruments and still be kind of snappy as it is. So we got a little bit of work to do to figure that part of it out, but we can at least send all other screenshots to this other markets. It's just currently not quite set up yet. So what you guys will have access to right now will simply be the crude oil futures, the 6E, Euro currency futures, and the ES futures. And then all of the analysis that Bo and I export will go directly to the main channel, and you guys can post and comment there. I would rather that you do it, to a specific post. So when you reply, rather than just simply replying all the way at the bottom here and adding more underneath, if there's a particular post that you're not quite sure about, or this doesn't make as much sense to me as I thought it would, or whatever, reply to that post, and then you can reply whatever screenshot or question or whatever, and then we're going to do a much more thorough job of answering, making sure that everyone's answered and addressed on a daily, if not on a 2 or 3 hour window. And then here we have a live chat. Yeah, that's not all other members. That was Constantine one time when he had a capability set that he shouldn't have had temporarily. So we'll get all that enabled today or tomorrow, so that anybody can post in there. The other markets. That's what I was. I think you wrote that a couple hours ago. Yeah. And then the updates that I assured you would come out last night are literally, I promise you, they're just about done. I just had to get at least 4 hours of sleep. So if I don't get 4 hours, then I am toast. So I had to call it quits before I could actually finish last night, or else I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you as I am. I would be sounding like a moron right now. So unfortunately, they're not in your hand just yet, but they will be within hours of me stopping this trading room. Right, so this is about that same target. All right, I'm going to have to close a couple of workspaces here because this is getting a little drag on it. I've got like 10 workspaces open. I'm going to close this one. All right, so what I want to do is first export this one. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to change that, Andreas, once these updates come out. Where do you live? You live in Asian time zone? Austria, that's right. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to change that to 2 o'clock. I just want to get these updates out first, and then I was trying to get all of it done and out before I had that. And then I started trying to do, well, basically what I did was I added a hard drive, which computer didn't seem to like very much because I wanted to do backups, like normal people do. They back up their computer, and it just didn't like it. So then I had to clear the CMOS, which really, really set me back. And I guess I'm just, not the world's greatest computer mechanic here, obviously. That's really weird. All right, I'm going to hurry up and go through these real quick. So, right, we're looking to get down to at least 116 in the euro. And then at some point, we're looking to break this high. Oh, this thing again. Give me a break. All right, I'm just going to change that hotkey. That is which one? Control-Shift-E. How about Control-Shift-Alt-E? It likes it. Well, this definitely looks like madness now. Nope, this is right. This one's right. Okay, good. Control-Shift-Alt-E. And we're done. Just need to save it. Where is that save button? Cool. Set as default. Yes, sir. Yeah, so we want to go above that high at some stage, hopefully after a decent retracement. These little fourth waves, this is not a little fourth wave, this is a fourth wave on a daily chart, but these tend to be the easier trades to take because you're already in a pretty well established trend. They can also be a little easy to miss because they just barely don't make it to the target. So anyway, once we get down to about 116, we'll know one way or the other whether it's going to be one worth taking or not. I'm going to put that alert right about there. Which alert probably will not go off until tomorrow or the next day. It's only 800 ticks away. So we should have some good shorts down into that area today and tomorrow. I do need some advice. So I've got some stuff set up, but it's not. So I excuse me, I need to know whether to get Sophos or TrendNet or, something. Which piece of hardware firewall should I have bought rather than what I do have? And I don't want to talk about what I do have on the air. Pretty sure that what I have is not capable of running everything else that I want to run. Cat hair all over the place. I need one that will also be able to handle Windows Server and a couple of other machines, and then allocate. I need one that can aggregate 2 different internet feeds. The one that I have is not capable of doing that, evidently, or at least have it work as a fail-safe switch or something. So if one internet goes out, the other one kicks in. I've got both internet feeds now. I just don't have the fail-safe switch set up properly. I thought it was, and then when we tested it yesterday, it didn't work like I expected it to work. But everything else is kind of working well enough. I mean, it seems secure, so I think it can be better, though. Can always be better, right? All right. This is in a very precarious situation here. In fact, I'm going to close it. I'm not even worried about looking for a short in this one for at least until after we're already closed. Crude is just unbelievable. What a beautiful, beautiful setup. I'm sure Bo got that one pretty easy. That is amazing. Give me a second to show you. There's one thing I want to get across today. It's the way that everything works together. Kind of what we did last night, but maybe in a bit more detail today. If we can have a trade set up. Yeah, it didn't line up quite as well as I thought it would on this tick chart. Pretty close, though. Just a slight miss. $200 exactly. I tell you, that looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That looks like A down, B up, 5 down for C, completed just now. Interesting. Yeah. And it's the exact midpoint. I'd say that's probably a low right there. Sophos, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I don't. Somebody, which one did Dell buy? Dell bought one of those guys, and I really don't like Dell anymore. Huh. They've only cost me 6 months, and I had to pay for them to charge me. Maybe they bought TrendNet. They bought one of those big. Well, whatever. Let me get into this. I'm not really liking this lag I got going on here. It's getting bothersome. I had everything set up so perfectly before. I had to reset the CMOS. And now I swear that the monitors just feel a little sticky. Pretty sure it's the ES. Knock it off. Hey. My goodness gracious. Straight down. So this was the short that we took. Well, I didn't take it. I talked about taking it, and then I kept talking about taking it. And then I talked about taking it a little bit more. And then I talked myself into not taking it because I was teaching it. Interesting. It's amazing the way I can psych myself into or out of something so obvious just using words. I mean, it doesn't get much more beautiful than that. And I said the only real thing against it is the fact that on the tick chart, basically all the non-time based charts, it looks as though it's moving up faster for the C wave. But that literally means nothing. Nothing. Because it's in the overnight. If it looked like that on the 1 minute, I'd be more inclined to kind of hesitate and wait and see what it looks like. But no, it looks like that on the non-time based charts, on the row bars, the tick bars, and we had churn on just about every single time frame at that high. And then this was the actual short signal, the final short signal for the entry, which if I had Blackbird enabled, would have taken it within a few ticks of that high. And then the target, of course, would have been below that low at least, which would have been is that 2,200 per trade, per contract? 46 points. So we may have just put in a possible low, but we'll take a look at that now. So this was my target, the bottom of that down-sloping channel. So quite interestingly, look at this. Let's say you're not looking at any of that. You're just looking at what we were looking at last night, which was simply this high here, right? So I was talking about the difference between what we call operative time frames. So this is a 10-minute chart, each of the minute charts, you see it has a number at the end. It's a 3. All right. I've got minute charts, tick charts, and then I have something called a row bar, which is just a bar type that I designed to blend range, ticks, and seconds. So volatility would be technically the first 2 numbers, I guess, and then time would be the last number. So I'm trying to blend kind of time and price and volume to some extent because of the ticks, but we're going to make another one on volume. You'll have the option to choose ticks or volume. But anyway, I sync them up according to that number at the end. So everything that is a 1 is the equivalent of a 2-minute chart period during the day session. So everything that is a 2 is the equivalent of a 5-minute bar during the day session. The day session is, 8:30 to 3:15 Central Time. Surajit's asking, what am I using as far as the computer? So I built one. Imagine that. It might be delicate, but I did. I built it. And it's been a little temperamental, but, I had to burn up a couple of parts first just to learn how to not do that. And it's running pretty smoothly now. It's a Ryzen 3900 XT with a new Gen 4 M.2 drive and Gen 4 AMD graphics card. And the radiator on the CPU is about as big as the case is. So it's running really, really well. It's just that I'm powering 6 monitors from one graphics card, and I don't think it's liking it because they're 1440p monitors. I think that's my issue with the lag here. So, right. Imagine we took the short here last night, which I should definitely have done, obviously. Then what is our target? The first place that you might have trouble would have been that little trend line here, but I mean, that's so close to it. That's just ridiculous to even talk about. So the first real place would have been right here that you might have expected to see some trouble. And I want to say it blew right through it. It had a little bit of trouble. And then down. So once we do that, I'm expecting to break the low and then make it to the bottom of the channel, which in this case is that trend line from low to low. So imagine that is your target and you just nailed it. Crazy, isn't it? So bizarre how this stuff works. I really don't understand it. I'd like to tell you that I do, but to be quite honest with you, it just works. I don't know why. It doesn't seem like it should work, right? Drawing lines on a chart. How bizarre. So that is a surefire exit to the tick. You're out of that trade. It's only 420 ticks or something. So it's not that much. And how big was your stop? Well, your stop was right there. 33 ticks at the most. Let's say you put it behind that high. Where everybody would put it. $44, $45 ticks. That's a 10 to 1, almost. Those are lovely. Those really help out your growth curve and your stats big time. Man, what a beautiful completion to that first day back. It's better than what it could have been. It's just amazing to me how this stuff works. It's very bizarre. I love it. Fascinating stuff. Where is this? There it is. Sounds to me like I don't have the fans quite set right. All right, so this is our target. So I was talking about last night that, this could be a triangle, and we could be looking for 5 waves down from right here, not right here. So just follow me here for a moment. This is a little bit, well, all right, there's 2 ways of looking at this as a potential triangle. And let me clean this up so it doesn't look so confusing. Well through that. Oof. Right there, and it better be a break of that preceding low. Yeah, just not quite. Almost. I was starting to second guess and, think about, well, if this is a high and yet we're going to come down into this big decline that'll end somewhere around 3,100, what would the next wave up look like, and what would that make this whole entire pattern? Well, we're already inside of this high here, so there is no more 1, 2, 3, 4. That's an impossibility now. Yeah, and I think it's definitely going to come. Well, I can't say anything definite, but I think it may very well come back inside of this high. And if it does that, then that's no 1, 2, 3, 4 either. So what would this be? It's either a totally completed wave 5 and the world is falling apart, which is this, frightful thing to think of, or it's going to find support, and then this would end up being an A wave down. Maybe this is 5 waves up for wave 1 of an extended fifth that's going to go into inflationary madness, which I don't see how it couldn't happen when you're printing money as we are. I don't know that anyone's ever seen the equivalent. So we really have no idea. Maybe you could compare it to Rome when Nero was borrowing money. Caligula before him, actually. But who was after him? Nero. Can't remember. He was a Caesar, yeah, but what was his name? Following Nero. Anyway, they borrowed tons and tons of money against nothing. And they floated their currency right before their demise, right before the barbarians, as they called them, came in and wiped them out. I don't know. All that history is a little hazy. It's about 7 or 8 different versions of it, depending upon where you're at and which book you're reading. But anyhow, this is what I'm thinking it may end up being right here. And that's your 50% there. So this could be ABC down for the A wave. We'd be looking for an ABC up for a B that could go all the way back near the high. And then big 5 waves down. So I'm hoping that's what it is, and not this 1, 2, 1, 2, and we're going down, 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 down. That would be just devastating. And I'd rather not have to experience that with all of you. Could be, Ari. Oh, man. They'll lock you up. All right, am I on the right screen here? What is it, 10 o'clock? All right, I'm forcing myself to take a break as I get on a schedule and whatnot and such. Yeah, this is no longer valid, but this is that last confluence zone. So there is some significance here. Let's see if this lines up, then I'll change my tune. Whoop, it does. Okay. I can see why Bo was looking at this spot too. So what I was thinking was 5 waves down from here. Now, I started to talk about this, and then I moved into ancient Rome. What in the world? All right. We can count a triangle up, running triangle up from this low, and this could be a double 3, or we could count it as this. 5 waves down for A. Okay. And then triangle B, 5 waves down for C. So let's just look at that. And then I'll take my break. So I usually put these to the right. All right, so that's a potential A. B did not break the start of A. A potential C did not break the end of A. And D obviously did not break the end of B as in boy. And then your little E wave up. So that's one other way that you'd count this as a triangle. It's just not beautiful. Well, it's not ugly. It's not ugly at all. It's actually quite nice looking. And then you would want to see 5 waves down from either here or this lower high. That could be your 1, 2. And we could have just finished the 3rd wave down. And then we want to see one more. Okay. Or this is a funny kind of a truncated wave Y or C of this E wave. Looks like it is a kind of a truncated double 3, but anyway, then we would have, let's see, possible 1, 2. I'm hesitant to call that 3. I think that would be 3. And then 4. And then one more down for 5. So that would be the very minimum that I would be looking for in this move. And then you may just have a possible end of a corrective wave that you could mark as a wave 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, big 4. And then we would get one more push up beyond 3,700. Okay, and then that, stop it, Charlie. And then that high would be the final high in my estimation. This is a bit awkward to export, but let's do it anyway. All right, I must take a break and I'll be back shortly. If you guys have some questions, I'll answer them when I get back. Well, I wasn't expecting this. Okay, that is a potential low in crude. If it's doing 5 up from here, not an A, B, C as I thought it was. This is your fourth wave low here, or quite close. Yeah. Well, we talked about that a minute ago. What am I talking about? Right there. All right, be right back. Must take break. All right, sorry guys, I'm trying to coordinate too many things today, but once these installers go out today, that will be done, and we won't have to worry about this. So tomorrow and the next days will be pretty well solid through with a 5-minute break instead of a 20-minute break. Goodness gracious. All right, Charlie, you're gonna have to get up, buddy. Come on. I figure we'll go until about 11:15 or so. Another 45 minutes from now. And then installers. So this is one of my preferred charts here. Especially for the ES, NASDAQ, and YM. This is the RTH chart. So this is eliminating the overnight price action. What a tremendous gap down. I'm thinking it's probably not going to stop at 3,200 or 3,196. It'd probably be 3,185 by the time it got there, if it were to head there. I'm going to see if one of these slopes actually lines up better. I'm afraid that one does. So this is probably the correct placement for that auto line. I'm just curious about it. Let me try a couple of things here real quick. I'm just going to connect to that gap. 15-minute high. After it gapped down, it's certainly not going to make it line up better, but let's see a couple of things. Okay. No, I'd say we're most likely headed to 3100. Mm-hmm. Maybe even lower if this is in fact a third wave down. I just really hope it isn't, for everyone's sake. That is potentially a long way down. Hmm. Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty scary looking. Let's see how crude's working out. It's already broken through the bottom of its channel, which means that it is surely headed lower. Well, most likely headed lower. So this can still be a flat with an extended fifth of C down to that 261.8 and still be valid. It's just, not quite as, the probabilities are getting lower and lower that it is, in fact, a C wave rather than a wave 3 down. So this is looking like it's kind of confirmed as an ABC up now, this portion. And now we're headed back to complete what is, in my view, a big wave, C wave down. So let me put that in perspective here. So this is the end of wave 1, and I had worked that out during 2 Sundays ago. And Cedric did put that video up, by the way. So on the YouTube channel, you can watch that from last night. You can just go to videos here. So this is the one from last night. You can see I've been trying to figure out computer stuff, huh? Yeah. Just one? Well, let me give it a second like. Goodness gracious. I love how you can, I need a boyfriend. What? Okay, lady. Calm down now. I've got a lovely Katie here. She's not going to appreciate that. Thank you very much. need a boyfriend. I must just sound super sexy, I guess. It's hard being so sexy. So there you guys have that. I'm going to post this in the forum too. Where I'm going over that short trade in the ES live. Right, so what I was thinking, A, B, and now C down for a wave 2 or B. I think it's a wave 2. I don't think we're going to be headed back to negative 40 anytime soon, or negative 37, whatever it was, negative 41, or 650. But to 30, we may go. Not by the looks of that one, but probably this lower median line here. And if it's going to make it there, it looks like it's going to make it there rather quickly. It's usually, I don't want to say usually, but oftentimes we'll make it right where that one of the warning lines intersects that lower parallel median line. And that would be not too many hours from now, huh? Let's see. $90 hours. So a few days. 4 days. That'd be Friday. Something like that. 96 is what? 4 days? I don't know. These maths. I'm okay with algebra, just not addition and subtraction. That's where they get me. I'd make a terrible cashier. Who wouldn't? Yeah, this makes pretty good sense, I'd say. So, yeah. All right. You remember that song? Is that a South African that wrote that? If not, it should have been. Was it really? I was kidding around. I thought he was British. Mr. One Hit Wonder. Might have had a couple. I remember that came on MTV one day, and my mother was like, "Turn that off! Turn that off right now!" I said, "Yes, ma'am." Too sexy for his shirt. What does that even mean? I don't know. I didn't write it. That's him. Half the guys out there are going, what is he talking about again? Sorry, guys. Not worth mentioning. Well, now, isn't that interesting? I don't know that I ever actually saw that in real time. So look at this one. High to high. Actually, I did. And then to that low, gave you this low. And this is non-back adjusted price. So this is the, I have to make some short videos for this update, which nothing fancy, but there's about 10 minutes of must do stuff before and during the update if you want to be able to import my objects properly to your charts. One of which is setting the data to merge non-back adjusted. And when you do that, you're going to have to delete your old database, all of your old data. You might get away with just reloading it, but if you're using CQG or Rhythmic or what's the other not so good one? Heaven forbid, IQ feed, or no, that's the one you want. IB, Interactive Brokers. Their minute data is even not so good, but their tick data is just not going to work at all for us here. So if you want to import my objects to your charts and have them look right, you'll have to change to merge non-back adjusted, unless or until I can figure out some sort of a way to I don't want to talk about that on the open mic anyway. But it would be best if we all had the same data feed, which would be kinetic or IQ feed. But that's requiring that you pay more for data than you may already be paying. And I can't ask that of you. Not yet. Not until we get out of the woods here. But at some point, I think we will want to all be on the same data feed. I may be able to make something work with historical data once I have a Windows Server here. But you'll still have to run real time. And it's going to take a little bit of doing to set it up properly. But I think we'll be able to figure something out at some point in the not too distant future. I want to say 26 to 28 is going to be our target. Need to get that little D in there, Rerd. So sorry. Surely that's not the end of that correction. Yeah. In order for this to even look remotely right, it's going to have to come down that would be a swing trade, one that you might look at in USO. Let me just show you what I mean. So I built a what, I didn't add USO? Huh. All right. So you can build, all sorts of different instrument lists, as it were. And I built one for the time frame tuner so that I could more easily get all that set up, try to make an efficient method as possible to update the workspaces and all of that, so that we can program something, so that I can essentially write specs for an app that'll do it automatically. So I first have to work out the steps involved, and I'd love it if we could do this. We could create instrument lists for you, but in order to do that, we have to, what do they call it? It's like, I can't remember the name. It's like inject code into the config file, which is frowned upon. So we don't want to do that. But one thing that I would have you guys do, if we all did get on the same page with the same data feed, is build this list right here. These are the continuous contracts. And I would make it such that the hourly, at least, probably the half hour up to the weekly, would all be continuous contracts, so that we would never have to erase or roll over. We'd never have to erase the market geometry analysis, any of it, from those charts, and we would never have to roll those charts over. So if you've noticed, rolling over more than one workspace at a time is incredibly problematic, especially while connected to the data feed. You really want to not be connected to the data feed when you roll over. And if we could eliminate half of the charts from needing to be rolled over, well, then it would all go much, almost said much about 20 times. It would go a lot more smoothly. And that would be very ideal. But again, one of the things that slows me down, trying to accommodate all possible combinations of trader types, who's trading what instrument, day trading, swing trading, and futures, forex, stocks. I mean, it's a lot to try and make work all in one. Kevin's asking a good question, actually. How do you delete all of the drawing objects at once? And we have a couple of new options in this update that's coming out today. Let me just finish this real quick. I'm just going to add USO here. USO, crude oil, USOIL? No, just USO. I'll be. Just add it anyway. It is USO. Yep. All right. So this is the delete button. And on that delete button, you've got delete all objects from chart. Right now, mine is set to workspace because I'm cleaning up all the old objects before rolling over. And that's definitely something you want to do. Delete all of the old objects from the previous contract before you roll over. So the new option that we have here is delete all of the same instruments objects from the same workspace. Sorry, that's not the one. This is the one. Same contract on workspace. So all of our workspaces that we create, except for the higher timeframes workspace, which is a conglomeration of or an aggregation of multiple instruments onto one workspace, all of the other ones will have just one instrument. So this one would effectively be, using the same instrument on workspace would be effectively the same as using all workspace charts. Okay, but what if you don't want to delete the continuous contracts objects, which is what I was just referring to, having continuous contracts for the higher time frames, so you never have to worry about rolling those over, and you never have to worry about deleting all of the old objects. I mean, it's really not necessary to delete the objects from the weekly and the daily every day. That's kind of a total waste of time. So if you set it to same contract on workspace, then you could delete everything from the CL10-20, but not delete any objects from the CL ###, which is the continuous contract. So in other words, right click on this button here and change this option from chart only to, however, maybe you've set up a custom workspace and you want to check out these different ones. You can test them as long as you make sure that you set it to create a backup before delete. So that way you can, try each one out, and then you can re-import that backup that's created. And to do that, you go to Utilities, Restore, and just click on this Date Modified column. Well, first of all, you have to make sure that you've got it set to Details so that you can do that. And then it'll flip to the most recent backup created. See? And once your toolbar core file starts getting above about 12,000, let's say 12 megabytes, then you've probably got some old objects in there from some previous contracts that could potentially start slowing things down a little bit. Not really, unless you had them open somewhere, but it just takes it longer to kind of sift through and match up the objects with the right workspaces and charts. So just keep that in mind when it gets, typically when mine gets over about 10 megabytes or 10,000 kilobytes, I try to, clean up the charts, delete maybe everything, just start over fresh. All right. I want this week to be, not just me looking for trades as it used to be in the trading room, but more interaction. I think I'm going to make it to where you guys can jump on the mic once you've got the update, just to make sure nobody's going to jump on and cuss at me. So once you've got this new update today, then I'm going to make it kind of open mic. And, as long as it's not something that's covered in a video previously, then I'll address it. And then we can maybe chop that out and make a video from it. But yeah, I want you guys to be able to ask as many questions as you want. Jump on the mic if necessary. All right. right, so it has actually turned up a little bit, but it's turned up in what appears to be a possible ABC. So let's look at that. It's not really going to line up on this one, so I gotta turn this off. It's driving me nuts. I don't know where all these dings are coming from. It doesn't even tell me. Pretty sure I need to reset that phone. It's probably the source of all my woes. I think I've got a pretty clear idea as to where we're headed. Not the look I was looking for at all. Nope, not at all. So I think you can probably see it if you've been working with Elliott Wave at all. Oh man, okay. I think it was just a bit of a throwover, and that could very well be the C wave low. It's in a bit of an awkward spot. No, that's a little out of the ordinary. No, I'm afraid it's going much lower. I don't know that for sure just yet. It could be a double three, as I'm finding now. I know a lot of this doesn't make sense to you if you're new to Elliott Wave, but it just doesn't really work though. No. No, I mean, this really has to be to complete an A wave down, a simple ABC. So we're looking at this. Degree. And then I just work my way down from there. So we're looking for 5 waves down for A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5. And I want to see that 5th wave, 78.6, 61.8, or 100% of wave 1. I know it may not look right to you just yet, but give it a minute. 61.8. I think the problem a lot of people have with Elliott Wave in applying it properly is jumping to conclusions about what is possible or allowed, and the difference between when something is more likely or less likely as opposed to allowed or not allowed. So just because something seems unlikely doesn't mean it's not allowed, just means it's less probable. It doesn't happen as often that way, if that makes sense. Doesn't mean that it can't happen that way. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is the end of our either A wave down, or it is a completed A, B, C flat with a massive C wave. And sorry, that's not A down. That's 1 down. Very confusing stuff, I know. But when you use it properly, I think you'll find it's actually beneficial, as opposed to what most people think after trying to learn it for about 3 or 4 days and then apply it with real money, lose a bunch of real money, and then throw it out, chalking it up to doesn't work because I lost money with it. That's why we have to do some statistic stuff this week. I'm thinking Thursday and Friday we're going to dedicate to that. You know, maybe not all the detail that I'll go into in a proper course, but at least some, so that you can, you know, have something to refer to that will give you some idea as to what you can safely expect and not expect. You cannot safely expect to follow someone else's trades and make money right off the bat. You have to know quite a lot before you should ever even consider trading live. You need to have a lot of information under your belt before you even make that consideration. All right, so we're doing 5 up. I'm thinking that's our little A coming up soon. We'll do a little B probably, and then C. I'd love to see C take out these highs, stop out some of those people from earlier today. And then a big wave down. This maybe is a bit frustrating in Elliott Wave. The fact that a lot of wave 1 moves tend to, they don't tend to, but you know, it happens enough of the time that you just basically have to expect it. It looks like a perfect ABC down when, you know, on this time scale, it doesn't really even matter how that first little wave down counts. You really don't want to do any counting on anything smaller than a 15-minute chart. Here I'm getting a little bit micro. Like this isn't even the right degree I should be using. I should be using this sub micro and micro. But I've already done it, so I'll just leave it as is for now. So is that wave 1 down? I think it is. Remember, this is what we're looking at. B wave high. That's this high, the starting point. So where's my copy? I'm going to add one more actually. Copy. Selected object to click chart. All copy builds. It was about a waste of 5 minutes. But at least I've got it there now. So I'm thinking 5 waves down for the C wave. Probably into this wave 2, back up. It may look like it's going into a 5th wave, but I don't think that's what's happening. I think we're going to have a short setup, maybe this afternoon late, or yeah, probably this afternoon late. I think that's our A wave up. Now we're doing B down. Maybe a couple of hours we'll have this 5 wave move up that will hopefully tick out that previous high. And then we can look for a short, which I'm thinking is what, 41, about 40.75, 40.80. Okay. 40.80. By the time we get there, I don't think it's going to make it that far. I think it's going to make it maybe to right here, 40.18. We'll just have to wait and see what happens, but I'm pretty sure this median line is going to be our target, the area from which we'll take the short. And then we want this to be a very sharp zigzag straight up. We want it to look like it's basically an impulse wave, and I want it to hurry up and get there, look very dramatic to the upside, psych everyone into going long, and then once they've done that, and it's obviously starting to round out and hopefully ticking out that prior high and building even more longs, or stopping shorts out rather, same difference I guess, more or less, then I'll be entering my short for what I'm expecting to be a third wave down. That would be, my goodness, that would be a lot of ticks. Let's just see. If that is 260 ticks, yeah, we're looking at well over 500 ticks, well close to 480 or something, maybe. Depends on whether it goes 161.8 or 261.8. This one I'm thinking is going to go 261.8. That third wave will basically needs to break these lows back here. After which point we'll get the pullback, fourth wave. Let's see what that looks like. Start it from here. Yeah, about 580. Once it finishes up, which means the third wave will probably be about 480. Something like that. Okay, so yeah, that's going to be one worth taking if it sets up properly. I'm going to end it there today, guys. Tomorrow I'll have more. It'll make more sense to go into, the differences between row 1 and row 2 and the Blackbird templates and all of that. And hopefully I'll be able to get into a trade in which I can use Blackbird to manage it. And then we can go through the ins and outs of that and a bit more detail about the rules. I honestly don't think that I'll be able to have the PDFs that I wanted to accompany this update done today, but I don't see why I couldn't have at least a couple of them for tomorrow afternoon, which means for Wednesday morning. All right, so let's cut it right here today, and then let me just make sure I'm answering all questions before I go. You're welcome, Mr. Craig. Nice to be back. Appreciate it. Yeah, and by the way, that Dell, the CPU is still fine, huh? It's a pretty nice CPU. The problem is that motherboard. It's about a $97 motherboard for a $2,000 CPU. Doesn't sound right, does it? So I've got a pretty nice motherboard that I'm gonna combine it with, and I'm pretty sure I need a proper power supply because the one that it came with is garbage as well. And I've kind of come to realize the power supply might just be one of the most important components of all. Could make the difference between frying your motherboard and your graphics cards or not. Yeah, so we'll be doing the 6E, and with the 6E, I'll be doing the Euro USD. At some point in 2021, we'll have things kind of specialized for swing trading versus day trading. And when I get into swing trading, that's when I'll be monitoring, various forex pairs, various futures, even ag futures like soybean oil, stuff like that. And what I really can't wait for is once I have a sizable account to get into stock trading. That's where the money's made for sure. Swing trading stocks. And you might think it's, dangerous, quote unquote, to hold overnight. But if you have the right sized account and you're position sizing properly and you're consistently holding overnight all the time, consistently, continually, then what you would expect to be the risk would just as easily be made up for when it gaps beyond your targets, because that's what you're worried about, holding it overnight, right? Gapping through your targets with a stock. In the futures, that's not so bad. The only problem is that when you hold overnight, it ruins your the amount of money that they allow you to trade with the next day. But what I want to get across Thursday and Friday is that you should never be maxing that amount out ever in the first place. The leverage that they give us is predatory, just as charging somebody 28% per year for a loan is not only predatory, it's unethical. It used to be illegal. In fact, a long time ago, they used to string you up for charging interest. Pretty sure they still do in Muslim countries. So this 30% interest nonsense and all of this leverage that they give us is the easiest way for us to do ourselves in. And it's funny, they don't teach you that in school, do they? Not in my school, they didn't. It's something you got to learn on your own, unfortunately, by design. So don't let leverage do to you what it's done to me in the past. I'm sure it's already done it to some of you, many of you. But that's something we have to address and we have to correct. And I want us to do that together. And I want you guys to actually be able to stay in the game long enough. And it is a game. It's not just a game, but it's the most arduous and intensive game. I mean, you're fighting against AI, basically. You may as well chalk it up to that. It's like, almost said Taj Minaj, but what was the chess guy? Taj Minaj. What was the chess guy's name that played against that? I can't even think of it anymore. Anyway, it'd be like that guy playing against the AI, except we're not that guy when we're using leverage to hurt ourselves. In fact, we're acting like old Forrest Gump, and sad but true, we just don't have the luck that old Forrest has had. Of course, he is a fictional character, but you know, if we could have that kind of luck, boy, yeah, I'd say, hey, go all in with all that leverage that you have. But the moment you do that is the moment that you destroy your account and any chance of staying in this long enough to see yourself start to make improvement. And until you really understand these things, I don't think you will ever see improvement. You might see some here and there, but a lot of that can really be chalked up to luck and happenstance and just simply where you started within the growth curve. And you can carry on like that for 12 months, thinking that you're the world's greatest trader, when in fact, a good portion of what you did is simply roulette wheel stuff. So that's something we need to talk about, and I think we'll do that Thursday, Friday, huh? Tomorrow will be more about the update, all the workspaces, kind of the way everything works together, and the differences between the row 1, the row 2, the signals, and hopefully get into some Blackbird stuff, but that might be for Wednesday. So, all right, I'll leave it there, guys. Y'all have a wonderful afternoon, and I'll talk to you tomorrow morning. All right, bye, everyone. And if I miss some questions in the forum, I'll address those in the forum. All right, bye now.